Coming up next on Her Business Playbook.
Honestly, it started even before the career did. So I was a young mom. At 19, I had my first daughter. And so at that point, I knew I needed to focus on career and education and creating a world for her that would look a little bit different.
Her Business Playbook is presented in partnership with the Columbus Chamber of Commerce with production support from Brainstorm Media. Learn more at herbusinessplaybook.com.
Hey team, my name is Tony Cunningham and I want to welcome you to another segment of the Her Business Playbook podcast. I'm so excited for our conversation today where we're going to talk all things executive presence, coaching, career, and just all the things that go into creating your personal brand and how you leverage that. Today, I'm excited because we have a special guest, Miss Ramona Hood, and I want to get your title correct. Ramona is the former president and chief executive officer for FedEx Custom Critical, and currently she serves as a director on several boards, and she's also doing her own thing in ramonahood.com, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and that transition and how you moved from corporate to ramonahood.com and what that took in a personal brand and all of that. So we're excited to have this conversation with you today, so welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you.
So we'll just jump right in. And I was on your website and reading more about your story and everything, and you've had an extraordinary rise, starting from the front desk, literally, to leading at the highest level. What would you say was a defining moment or decision that changed the trajectory of your career?
You know, honestly, it started even before the career did. So I was a young mom. At 19, I had my first daughter. And so at that point, I knew I needed to focus on career and education and creating a world for her that would look a little bit different. And so she was really my motivator when I joined FedEx Custom Critical as the receptionist. Certainly thereafter, I saw the opportunities in the workplace of being able to move up in my career by setting goals and having a good network of individuals to support me as well.
I love that. And I love that you mention and you don't hide the fact that you were a single mom at 19, because how many women have had a baby early and thought that defined their career or their life? And you are proof that that doesn't have to define you. So I love that you talk about that. With each of your moves, were there pivotal moments where you knew it was time to move to your next? Because you think, okay, I'm at the front desk, and then at some point you think, I can do more, or it's time for more. So talk to us a little bit about kind of how you had those awareness.
Absolutely. There certainly was some intentionality and roadmap to my career. Part of it was just moving into roles to try different things. Once I got into leadership, I realized that I really wanted to have an overall view of the organization. And in order to do that, I needed to move around into different departments and get comfortable with the uncomfortable and, take on different assignments, take on positions that maybe I didn't feel that I had the necessary skill set fully to be in the role, but I knew I could gain them once I took on the role or the assignments as well. And so I really became very comfortable with raising my hand, sharing with others what my long-term aspiration was. And it was always about not necessarily the next role that I had, but it was really about where I saw myself 2 to 3 roles afterwards.
What are some of the main areas of focus when you are coaching women executives that are more seasoned in their careers?
I think for women executives that are seasoned in their career, part of understanding what their purpose is, the why behind what they want to do, really getting to the root cause of that is really important, because that really is like the hallmark of their motivation, their drive, and their interests.
Was there ever a moment when you were ready for the role, but the room wasn't ready for you? And if so, how did you navigate that?
There were a couple times in my career where I was ready. You know, one of those examples were if you would look at my bio and my accomplishments, you looked at the job itself, you would go, oh yes, this is her job. And in that situation where I didn't get it, the feedback I got was because I had so many promotions over the last few years, they felt it was too soon for that next promotion. Needless to say, I was pretty disappointed by it, but I believe in faith and God has a mysterious way of working, and it was really his way of navigating for me to get better position for what was ultimately the role of president and CEO.
What advice do you have for women who feel overqualified but overlooked?
I would say in a situation where someone is feeling overqualified and overlooked, there's a different place they need to go to make sure that their skills are valued. Because no one wants to be in an environment where they're not completely valued. It touches psychological safety. You want to be in a place where your thoughts, your ideas, your contributions are valued at all times.
Now that you're advising leaders and sitting on boards, how has your presence and style shifted again in this new chapter for you?
Yeah, I think the approach I take is still very strategic in what is being accomplished, how it can be accomplished. I think having a strong voice in those places become even more important. You know, from a board perspective, you're an advisory. I sit on public boards, I sit on private boards, and I know the seat at the table that I earned was because of my skills and knowledge. And so my role is really to be intellectually curious about what they're doing and then give them insight on maybe some other directions or angles that they should consider as well.
If you had a simple checklist that you would give a woman who is either mid-career, on the rise, looking to get into the C-suite, what's one mindset shift they need to make?
I would say the one mindset shift that needs to be made is around abundance. Abundance of opportunity, abundance of growth, and having the curiosity to do both of those. And what that really means is investing in themselves from a development, growing, and learning perspective, and then also understanding that the opportunities that they may have aspirations for may not be right in front of them. They may need to look broader and wider for those.
I love that. How about 2 to 3 style or presence choices that they should make immediately? Because, you know, there's a lot going on out there in the style world.
There is. You know, when it comes to style, I think there is something around just finding a style for you. And what that means is maybe not being on trend with everything. Everything that is a trend should not be a trend, and especially in different environments. But I think understanding the colors that work best for you, understanding what you're comfortable in, if it's dresses, if it's pants, and then making your closet and your wardrobe authentic to you. I mean, I'm a person who, I love shoes. And so, several reasons, right? Your feet typically don't change the size.
That part.
So your inventory can continue to grow. And you can just do really fun things with your shoes as well. And so that is how I add my authenticity to how I dress, is through my shoes.
I love that. I do the same thing. That pop of color.
Yes.
I'm on the all black with a red shoe, or black and white with a red shoe.
Yes.
The leopard print shoe, like today.
Yeah, I love those.
You know what I mean? I got muted colors in the leopard print shoe.
Yes.
I think finding ways to bring your authentic self in so that you don't feel like you had to reshape who you were to fit into the room. I think our natural brilliance can come into the room along with our style. And lastly, what I would say is, what's the biggest thing or mistake that people should avoid? Because we talk a lot about, oh, do this, and oh, you'll have a fabulous life, but there are some things we should avoid. So what are you thinking is like, what is one pivotal thing you've seen women do that they should avoid?
It's probably what they're not doing, and I think women don't negotiate enough. And I see that in a lot of spaces with themselves. You know, statistically, they say that women, when they look at a job description, if they don't meet 95 to 100% of the qualifications, they won't even go forward. And that percentage is a lot less for men. They will still go forward. The other place where they don't negotiate is more of an interaction around pay. It's one of the reasons we have the pay inequity that we do. When it comes to new roles, 1 out of 3 men will negotiate their pay, and women, it's less than that. And so I think there is an opportunity for us to exercise that muscle a little bit more, and it's going to help us throughout our career.
So avoid operating in fear.
Correct.
I would say, because I think we all get a little nervous, like, oh, if I ask for too much, they're not going to give me the job. But we all know the number they put out there is not really the number.
It's not the number. There's a range. And if there is a negotiation of you asking for more and they're now considering giving you the position, you probably didn't want that position, and you probably want to question the organization that wouldn't be open to someone who's invested in themselves and willing to negotiate for themselves. Because if you can't negotiate for yourself, the question is, how do you negotiate for the organization?
Wow. Yep, that's powerful. So our bonus question, our last question, at Her Business Playbook, Workable Style, we have a saying, game plan your look and style your strategy. How does that resonate with you as you coach and train other women?
Yeah, I believe in personal brand. And so when I hear that, I hear the importance of what you say, how you act, and what you look like are meaningful. And so is it all congruent and aligned in one brand? And so just being intentional with what you wear to who you are and the persona that you want to have out in the universe.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. And I look forward to hearing your keynote this evening. I know you have a keynote in the area at WELD, and this is going to be amazing. I think it's going to be, the women are going to be so blessed by just you sharing your brilliance with us. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you later.
All right.
Thank you for listening and watching. We want to thank our presenting sponsor, the Columbus Chamber of Commerce, Brainstorm Media, and Kylie Lovesy Design. Listen and watch wherever you get your podcasts, and visit us online at herbusinessplaybook.com.